Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Pulza, and today we're going to be talking about a very serious topic, and that is one of depression. More specifically, I want to talk about depression in men because it's more prevalent than ever these days, and that's for a number of factors which I want to get into now. For example, the first factor I feel like is a lack of purpose. With men nowadays, we don't have a purpose like men did, for example, 100 years ago. Let's say you were raised in like 1912, 1940. Our purpose was to provide and protect our family, especially because we were in times of war. Even now we are in times of war, but no man has a purpose because most men are chronically lonely, so they don't even have a family to fight or protect for. So they don't even have a purpose. Like, most men are so chronically deprived of affection that they don't even have like a loved one to even protect, because we seek like refuge in these video games, these junk food, that we don't even like bother to look for like a partner. And also like we're just desensitized to like women because of porn, and we don't have social skills because most of us are just stay indoors, and then we play games, so we get the fulfillment from games rather than actually going to pursue, like our goals and then wanting to get with women. So then we don't even have a purpose because we have no drive as well, because when we do these bad habits of like playing video games and stuff, not only is it bad for you, and it's sort of like you're not doing the good thing, but not only are you not doing the good thing, but then the bad thing leaves you feeling drained, so then you don't even have any energy to actually try do the good thing in the first place. So it's like almost a cycle, and yet what that just leads is a big problem of us not having a purpose. The modern man just lacks the purpose and lacks the drive, and that's the first part, which obviously leads to depression. Now I want to build further on the fact that we don't have a purpose by talking about school. In school, men are taught that sort of these masculine traits are bad. For example, we're taught, we're given participation awards. We're taught, oh, you shouldn't like overachieve, especially in like athleticism and stuff. You shouldn't be like hyper competitive. You shouldn't be like courageous. You shouldn't also speak up for yourself. If you speak up for yourself, for example, you get punished for it, and you can't do masculine things or even just act like a boy. When you're a boy growing up, you're naturally just gonna wanna like play, fight, just play about, like mess about, and obviously that's punished in the school system. So the feminine traits such as like listening, being sort of like a suck up really, and being like emotional, they're all in school, they're all taught that they're good traits, and then the masculine traits are punished. So that's sort of like teaching boys to be feminine, because it's teaching us to be sort of like complacent, weak, and it also like schools also teach, oh, you should cry, you should, and I think that is somewhat true, but only never in front of like a woman or something, because that is very like demeaning, and it's just not masculine for you to be doing, because it really just like it puts a mental toll on you and then the person, because it makes them less attracted to you, because it sort of shows like weakness, doesn't it? Then school, because school is sort of teaching you shouldn't be a man. Most men nowadays, we feel alienated because we don't know what to believe, because what we feel as natural is being told by this world and by school that this is bad. Like, what feels natural to us is like to mess about, to have fun, but that is seen as bad. So that leaves us more with a less lack of purpose. So that's why I started wanting to build on with school. But yeah, and then all of this again ties back to social media and games, because we're told we have this lack of purpose, so then we seek refuge in games and in social media, and it sort of provides like a short-term fix, because what it does is it gives us this social environment, kind of like when you play games, for example, you'll be talking to people a lot of the time. When you on social media, you're texting, but what it actually does is it further like distances us from other people, because what it actually does, especially when it's stuff like like video games, porn, even like Snapchat and stuff, like what you're just doing, you're texting, or you're just like speaking in game or just in the virtual world rather than in real life, and that really impacts your mental health, because obviously you're not getting enough vitamin D, and it affects your mental health. because you're just sitting indoors all day, and also your physical health as well because you're not exercising, and yeah, it further distances you, and then it also just like it creates addiction. It really does create addiction because like the blue lights are blasting in your eyes, and then obviously with short form content, it's also very hard because it basically fucks up your attention span and fucks up your brain. Basically, it makes you addicted. All like the blue lights, and yeah, they literally design it to make you addicted. They make it so they do the fucking perfect button to make you click on it. Everything is done. It's all an algorithm to try and make you click. Even this video is meant for you to click on it. Everything's like done that, and then it's even more addicting because there's a lack of purpose. Then we find like a purpose in the video games because it's like this instant gratification instead of like going outside and actually fucking having to face the consequences of what we've been doing and trying to improve ourselves. We just stay in our little bubble and just keep playing the video games and keep making our lives worse, but like having some temporary joy or just distraction really. I see it as really just a huge cycle. Like I could go into a lot more other reasons why depression is so prevalent nowadays. For example, like relationships are at an all-time low, but again that's all linked to all of these. Like I feel like all of the problems, they all link to each other. For example, the social media, school, because what we're told, and then obviously like the lack of purpose. It just all links together, and they all just go back in a cycle really. But I could just go on this video and keep saying this because there is a lot of reasons in this world why depression is prevalent, but I sort of want to look on the brighter side because I want to tell you what you can do, and I think it's very important now, especially because more men are depressed than ever and more men are taking their lives than ever. In fact, 3/4 of suicides are men, and the suicide rate is going through the roof, and it's only ever going to get higher, especially with how the world is going. It's not looking much better. But I mean, I feel like the past 2 years it's not been horrible. We've got people like Andrew Tate, people like Hamza telling us the right way, but it's obviously a lot more people are depressed. And what I just wanted to focus on in this video is why I want you to sort of change your mindset about depression, because I've been depressed for a long time, and I did have those periods or like dark thoughts and stuff, but I did fight through it, and I just wanted to sort of show you why you can as well. So first off, I just wanted to like reframe your mindset. I think you should sort of view this depression, look at the depression from like an outside perspective. Why are you depressed? If you think about it, it's probably because your life isn't too great. Whether that's external factors or not, I would rather you sort of focus on what things that you can do to change that now. I don't want you to think, oh well, genetics, oh I'm short, I have a big nose, I don't know, whatever the fuck. But if you focus on that, you're just gonna be like a black pill. You're just gonna like be giving up. That's just all of this like black pill stuff is just an excuse for you not to do hard work. Focus on stuff you can change. Let's say you're sitting. What I used to do is I would sit in a chair in my filthy room with my shitty posture on my fucking laptop or phone, and then like with my glasses, with my acne, with my fat face, and then I was like, I was depressed as fuck. And then, but like looking back, if I just took a moment to realise and like just sort of thought, why am I depressed and what can I do to change it, that could have honestly saved a fucking year of my life. Like I want you to do this now. If you are feeling these dark thoughts, stop for a second and think, what can you do now? For me, it would have been obviously work out, or even just wash my fucking face. That's the start with acne. Mewing, obviously, stuff like that. I mean, that's like that. Those were some long term, but even like there was some short term things I could have been doing. There's always like short term and long term, but I would advise you do both, and especially the long term habits you want to start doing. So what I could have done for long term is obviously try to improve my mental health by meditation, by like, especially meditation is very good for mental health. But what else I could have done, especially is a short term thing I could have done, is just clean my room. I feel like cleaning your room is a very, very underrated thing in the self-improvement community, because having a clean room is honestly just brings like a lot more joy. When you're in a filthy room, it generally does like suck away from your fucking soul, man. It's like demeaning in a sense, because like you just go to your room in shame, yet you don't have enough effort to actually clean it. So there are a lot of things you can do, such as just clean your room, get a haircut, for example. And then obviously the long-term habits like going to the gym, try go outside more, try go for a walk. All of these things I never thought of, but I really should have, because like looking back on it, I would actually think to myself sometimes in these depressive mood swings and stuff. I'd be like, oh, why am I so depressed? Why am I so depressed? Like wondering, oh, why can't I just be happy? Why am I so depressed? But then I look back on it, of course I was depressed. Of course, like I should have. I deserved to be depressed. I did nothing that deserved happiness. I sat in a room all day, no sunlight, on a computer screen, ruining my eyes, and not even leaving room, only leaving room to go to the toilet and go downstairs and eat. Is that a man that deserves to be happy? No, of course it's not. Of fucking course it's not. A man that deserves to be happy is a man who puts in effort, who puts in work, and actually does stuff, and or just works to improve himself. So obviously I wasn't happy, but also I want to reframe your mindset. I like what Andrew Tate said about this. Actually, he says he doesn't believe in depression. Now, say what you want about that. That's obviously a controversial opinion, but I actually really do agree with like some of the things he said on that point. He said like he doesn't believe in like clinical depression, because by believing in clinical depression, you're believing you can do nothing to change that, and you can always change something. And I feel like that's so true. When you've got this sort of depression mindset, you feel like, oh, I'm just a depressed person, right? But if you just reframe that to, I'm a person who's depressed now, but I'm going to improve and I'm going to become happy. Like, just doing that is such a simple change, and then just actually working towards making yourself happier. And honestly, I know this might sound crazy, but try to be grateful for your depression, because think about it, if you're doing these bad habits, right? And the fact that you're feeling depressed is your body telling you that you're doing something wrong. Imagine if you were completely fine with, being an absolute loser, then you'd never improve. But the fact that you are feeling depressed right now is actually almost like a calling sign. You should be grateful, to be honest, because by now feeling depressed, your body's your body, your mind, and people are just gonna direct you towards the right path for you to improve and go further on this journey. But yeah, that's my video for today. I hope you learned a lot. This is advice I wish I had. I generally do. This would have saved a lot of time. Like, I genuinely used to wonder, like, when I was fucking spending 7 hours a day in my filthy room with fucking bread, with like fucking crumbs everywhere, and just like my acne was mad, everything, and I was just wondering, oh, why am I depressed? Like, if I just watched this video, for example, I would have been realised why I'm depressed. But yeah, safe. Hey, thanks for watching to the very end. If you like self-improvement content, consider subscribing and watching another video. Furthermore, me and my partner would appreciate it if you liked the video. Anyway, got to go.